Hello and welcome to Market Insights. I am Lavina Emma. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, and as you know, business transactions are taking place all over the country in small and medium enterprises. Now, Nigeria's small and medium enterprise sector is the backbone of the economy, but for far too long, these businesses have grappled with limited access to traditional financing. Now, this is where FinTech emerges as a game changer. FinTech companies are leveraging technology to create innovative financial products and services. These solutions are specifically tailored to the needs of SMEs, providing them with the much needed capital to fuel their growth. Now, the spectrum of FinTech offerings is vast. It encompasses everything from mobile lending platforms to digital accounting tools, just to mention a few. Now, these tools empower SMEs to manage their finances effectively, optimize operations, and ultimately achieve greater success, which is the aim of every business owner out there, to achieve success in their business, to make sure they can gather enough profits, make back those profits. Even in the events that they have to take a loan to start their business, they will still be able to cover that with the profits they are making. And FinTech companies all over the country have been supporting SMEs in Nigeria. So on today's show, my guest and I will discuss how FinTech has fueled the Nigerian SME growth. Okay, so my guest this morning is Onyinye Okonji. She is the Chief Commercial Officer, I beg your pardon, for Sycamore.ng. It's a financial company that has also aided in the growth of SMEs in Nigeria and also been able to advise them on their finances. And she's in the studio this morning with me. So welcome to the Market Insights, Onyinye.
Thank you, Lavina.
Okay, this is good, considering the fact that today is May 29th, and from last year to this year, we had a new administration take over, and a lot of companies, people have been talking about how this new administration has favored their business and if it's not that case, or vice versa. But we know FinTechs have been able to aid, but the most important thing that most companies need, which is capital, they've been able to aid that for them. Now, looking at against this whole backdrop from last year to this year, how has it been so far, the journey so far with your company? Let me start, first of all, since you work with a financial company, how your company has been able to promote the growth of FinTechs of small and medium enterprises in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much, Lavina. Thanks for having me. So I work with Sycamore. I'm actually one of the co-founders. And Sycamore has always, from the beginning and for the last 5 years, put small and medium businesses at the forefront. So right now we operate in 6 different cities in Nigeria, but we are enabled via technology to be able to serve all 36 states, right, in Nigeria alone for now. Right. So one of the things that we do is create niche products for income groups. Right. I remember that early on in our early days, we had a product specific for school owners. Right. Because what we did was we understood how their revenue comes in and how they're able to pay back. Right. We also had other niche products around road transport workers. So basically, because we're a nimble FinTech, we're able to sort of understand and, to the extent that we can, and sort of customize products to SMEs in different sectors.
Okay, that's very good, actually. So I'm quite sure you receive a lot of these small businesses come to you for capital to start up their business, and you're able to advise them in the event that you can give a loan or provide the facility for them to get a loan. You're able to advise them on the payments plan, and then going forward, whatever policies or whatever advice they need in terms of if they need the collateral. So how, still on that same sector now, how has the rise of financial technology impacted small and medium enterprises this past year? Let's just look at this time frame of from May 29th last year to May 29th this year, or to date.
Okay, I'll put it in the context of, this is a fantastic question, because we're Nigerian focused today, right?
Yes.
So I'll put it in the context of Nigeria and introduce what SMEs and their real importance to Nigeria, the economy, right? So today there are over 40 million SMEs in Nigeria. These 40 million SMEs employ over 80% of the Nigerian workforce today and contribute over 50% to the Nigerian GDP. So this is what SMEs, this is really quantifying the importance of SMEs as the bedrock to Nigerians' economy, right? So what's the impact on FinTechs on these SMEs? I mean, there are so many positive and also negative impacts, right? The rise of many FinTechs have given rise to a price drop in terms of access to loans, right? Prior to now, traditional banks will say, go and bring all sorts of quote-unquote stupid documentation and then give you at an exorbitant rate, right? But right now, you're seeing very friendly rates going to SMEs. There's also increased access to funding, which is the exact reason why SICAMO has come to play, right? Increased access to funding for SMEs. There's the also part of increased efficiency in terms of turnaround time, in terms of just being able to promote efficiency and convenience to the customer. So, for instance, in the past, right, we would have people leave their houses with documents, papers of proof that I own the business, plus this is my cash flow and all of that, right, to go to a bank to go and beg for money. But now you are on your phone, or you are getting an SMS saying dial this USSD code to access a loan, or you go to a website, or you download an app. These are the positive impacts of being a fintech. In terms of even knowing your customer, because I mean, if you're under regulation, you'd have to abide by the rules, right? We're plugged in with BVN and NIN, so we're able to touch different data points to be able to really identify who it says we're talking to. Do you really own this company? What is the cash flow, right? So these are some of the positive impacts. On the negative side, because with all good comes small evil, right?
Yes, certainly.
On the negative side, we're still trying to really understand, right, the risks associated with SMEs, because there's a reason why a lot of the banks didn't touch them in the first place. What you don't understand, you really don't touch, right? So we're still trying to really understand what are some of these risks and how do we mitigate them. Because I'll give you an example of something that happened in 2019. I know you said last year, but it happened during the Okada ban, right? We had a product on the market. It was really targeted towards the road transport workers primarily. So we're saying, okay, these guys are cash liquid. They don't save. What it means is that they work, and the cash that they earn every day, they're able to, if they finish it that day, there's no sickness that will keep them on the bed the next day. They're going to have to stand up and go to work. So we said, okay, let's give these guys credit facilities, right? And then the Okada ban happened. Okada ban extended to the Korope's, to the small yellow buses, right? A whole product line was wiped out with that policy. So there's also the regulatory part of the negative impacts. So you are trying to really support these businesses and niche income groups, but there's
government policies seem to be affecting.
There are policies that affect, but there's also the understanding of the real revenue drivers of these businesses.
And that's the consumers, the people who want to start their own business, the people who actually want to actually participate and take advantage of this service that not just your company, but other fintech companies offer. Yeah. Okay, we're still on that same line. Now, what are the biggest challenges that SMEs still face when trying to access finance? We know that, okay, let me just start with you first of all.
Okay, so we live in a microeconomic environment that is volatile, is uncertain, is complex, and also very ambiguous. So you think that you have learned the way to do your business, and then something would come. With that volatility, it becomes a problem for studying a pattern to be able to lend to businesses. Because what we're doing is lending against your cash flow, right? So if there's no stable cash flow, even though you say that you are making money, we cannot really use that. There's no pattern per se. It's feast or famine, so we can't really do anything about that. That's one of the things.
Recently, the MPR jumped to
26.25%.
Thank you.
this is the baseline for lending to anybody. So on lending to businesses would be on top of that, right? So really, those climbing rates affect SMEs so accessing funds, because I mean, really, how much are you making that you want to now pass everything back to in terms of interest rates? And there's a big knowledge gap. There's the fact that loans are available. There's monies in the banks for these SMEs, but there's also the fact that most people have disqualified themselves even before being pre-qualified. Is it a bank? No, I'm not going, right? So you have all those issues. And then I would add the gender discrimination. So you have a problem with, which is why financial inclusion is such a big ticket thing now, which is why a lot of VCs are saying we have to lend to a company that has a gender balanced board or gender balanced executive team, right? There's women who can take loans and repay, but they're disqualifying themselves because in the past, most loans and investments have gone to businesses that are predominantly owned by men.
Okay. So that gender issue is something that, but okay, looking at all these challenges that you have mentioned, the gender issue, the high interest rates, the knowledge gap, like what have you done right there to educate people that, look, it's not all negative. You can come to us and we can see how we can level the playing ground for you. We can see how we can make this loan available to you. So you shouldn't just disqualify. Is there an avenue you've been able to create to enlighten people more?
Okay, so we have this particular program that we run. What I say is a program. It's a program, right? Okay. It's called Wikipedia, right? Wikipedia is taken from Encyclopedia and Sycamore and Encyclopedia. Okay. What we're trying to do is define terms and give you in bite sizes so that you can understand issues around finances, financial literature, literacy, and taking loans. Really taking loans, repaying them. So we put out a video every week on our social media handles and YouTube for people to just be able to, it's like 1 minute, 2 minutes, bite sizes, right? So you get, knowledge in those bite sizes, you can digest it, you can ask questions, we can put you through. When SMEs come to us to take loans, we advise them because we pride ourselves on being responsible lenders. So if we see you and we know that you cannot take this facility because your cash flow is saying one thing, but you believe that your power is saying another thing, then we would advise you to, see the reality of it, right? We'll tell you, oh, you know what, most of your monies need to go through your bank because that is how we would, this is the evidence that would have to be able to lend to you. Just information like that on a regular basis. We also have flexible repayment structures. So you come and you say, okay, I'm an SME, but my money doesn't come in every month. This is how my money comes in. We'll structure it. For schools, their monies don't come in every month. It comes in at the beginning of the term because that's when parents pay.
Yes.
So if you are giving a school owner a loan and you are giving them equal payments, installments every month, you're going to run into MPLs right there, right? So we try to really match business understanding and revenue patterns.
Okay, so looking at the trend, everything that has happened this past year, from last year to date, we've seen the Central Bank of Nigeria, but that was well said, by the way, having to increase the MPR, the interest rates repeatedly to curb inflation.
Repeatedly.
Yes, it's always, okay, after every monthly meeting, you hear, okay, we have increased the interest rate to this amount, and right now it's at 26%, which is quite high. So is there, I know, yes, you've mentioned how government policies have impacted, but looking at this whole trend from this administration, has it been favorable to small business owners and also to, yes, I know your companies also have to follow the government's rules and regulation. Has it also been favorable to your companies too? I'm speaking for your own company.
So you see what financial technology companies, Fintechs for short, are. We promote financial services on a technology platform, right? So we're really just an enabler for financial services. If we're getting funds at a high rate. Those rates are passed on to the customer. Now you have players that have get their funding from outside Nigeria and they get it in bulk. So that's why a lot of these fintechs raise, right? But the truth is, you can only compete on price to an extent. So that pricing will still be passed to the customer. And the truth is, if you believe that your business is going to, yield the kind of returns that you're priding yourself on, then come apply and you get the money.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so before we round up this segment now, looking ahead, can fintech continue to better serve the needs of small businesses looking into the future now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the reason why every single day you hear of a new fintech. There's space. There's space for everyone. Fintechs are so fragmented and they're doing several different things. So for us, it's small ticket lending from 100 to 10 million, right? But some other people are playing on AI. They're doing data mining for these businesses. They're invoice financing, all sorts of things, right? So the future is looking good for in terms of fintechs enabling SMEs. And remember that these SMEs should really be the focus of the fintechs because they're the bedrock of the society.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Onyinye Okonji. It was a pleasure having you on the program, the Chief Commercial Officer of Sycamore, and how fintechs have been aiding in the growth of small and medium enterprises in Nigeria. And the journey so far, as Onyinye has said, has been very positive. It's been so good so far, and the future is very bright with this partnership between fintechs and SMEs in Nigeria.